Hey everybody. First of all, no, I'm not all sweaty. I just took a shower, but I have to do this video before I've got family coming over for a barbecue here in about an hour. And I wanted to do this video before they got here. So I'm gonna do it now. It is so freaking hot out here in Utah. I think it's 97 or 98. I came in the back corner of my yard because it's got shade and it actually feels a little cooler because of all the plants. Tack för sist, välkommen tillbaka. Need to fix this a little. I appreciate y'all being here. I appreciate all the comments, sharing, subscribing, and that's why I'm on now, is because of a specific comment that I got on my video last night. And don't get me wrong, I love getting comments. Whether you agree with me or disagree with me, I love getting them. This one, well, let's put it this way. I think this is one of the big problems with the Mormon Church. Yesterday I did a video talking about the good things. A lot of the good, it's not like I can name all of them. There are thousands of great things with the Mormon Church. But I did a video specifically talking about the good things that I experienced in the church growing up, and the things I enjoyed, and the things I'm glad I experienced. And yet somehow somebody decided to comment about me leaving the church. Not just me, but people like me. I mean, it was generalized a lot of people, and there's a good chance this guy is going to watch this video, and if he does, you're welcome to comment back again. And as long as it's respectful, which he was, I felt he was very judgmental, but it was respectful, and I tried to do the same. When I responded to him, he called it lashing out. I don't lash out at people. I feel no need to. I don't know this person. He might be a very nice person. I wish them a happy life. But the main line, I'm not going to say his name. If he wants to comment on here and put his name out here again, he's welcome to. That's up to him. I'm not going to put it out here. That's not what I do. But the main line, and I'm not going to get it exactly, I should have printed it out, but what essentially he said was, well, so first of all, let me summarize his statement. Essentially, he left the church for 30 years, and he's been back for about that long. I think he said he's 82 or about to turn 82, so it gives you an idea. He, talked about that he went through alcoholism and drug abuse and lots of other stuff. He didn't go into specifics about what the other stuff was. I don't need to know it. Everybody's life is their own. And then afterwards, he said, I found my way back. Well, didn't really find his way back. His non-member wife joined the church, and then he went back. I don't know if that means he decided it was true again, because he never said that. He just said he went back because his wife decided it was true. And I can't read his mind. Maybe he believes it, or maybe he went back because his wife went or joined. Regardless, the line that really kind of seemed so judgmental was, essentially, he said, people like you are wandering through life with no direction, aimless, no point. Essentially, people like me, meaning people that left the Mormon Church. Now look, I have not taken my name off the records. I don't care. I've had a bunch of you say you need to take your name off. You know what? It's paperwork. I hate paperwork. I don't care. It doesn't mean anything to me. I consider myself non-LDS. And I'll say it again. I have a lot of respect for lots of parts of the church. My parents, friends that are still part of the church. It's not for me. I don't believe it. But one of the big problems I had with the church, and still have with the church, is things like this. Judging other people on what you think and what you believe. He essentially said, because he found his way back, anybody like me is going to come back again. Now, I'm not a person to say never. I'm not going to say I'll never go back to the Mormon Church again, but I don't see it happening. I'm happier in the last 20 years than I've ever been. So why would I? I have spirituality in my life. I believe in God. I have a relationship with God. I don't need a church. I don't need a religion for that. But this guy basically said that people like me are just wandering aimlessly. He didn't basically, he said we're wandering aimlessly through life with no direction. And when I called him out on it, he said, that's not being judgmental. If that's, I specifically said to him, as a former bishop, because he said he had been a bishop, you should know better than this. To tell people that what they're doing is, and because you did it a certain way and you went back, maybe because of alcoholism and that was the way to escape that. That's not an issue for me. And it's not an issue for most people that I know that have left the church. Now, I know there are people out there that say, well, if you have beers on Friday and Saturday, that's basically an alcoholic. Well, I don't even know what to tell you. I think your beliefs are all twisted if that's how you think. I know alcoholics. I have alcoholics very close to me. I see it destroy their lives. My life is not destroyed. I have a very happy, healthy life. I don't know what happened there. That was weird. Excuse me. Great family, great career, beautiful home. I work my ass off for it. It's the American dream as far as I'm concerned. Work hard for it. So, no, I'm not wandering aimlessly, my friend. I am very content and happy. And maybe someday I will take my name off. But I also mentioned, there's a reason that the activity rate in the Mormon Church is only around 25 or 30%. Now, the numbers vary, and I guarantee there's going to be people that come on here and say, it's closer to 50. It's not. It's not even close. When I met personally, one-on-one, in a room with Thomas Monson, who was the president of the church not that many years ago, when I was on my Mormon mission, I met with him because I had been drafted into the Norwegian army. And they were going to move me to Sweden, and he happened to be visiting Norway. I met with him one-on-one. He told me that the stake that I grew up in was one of the most active stakes in the world. Now, or maybe the most active. That was the Tabor, Alberta stake. Now, it's not that active anymore, but it was around 50 or 60%. It might have been 70%. It was high. And he told me, that's way above the world average. Coming from the mouth of a future prophet, he was an apostle at the time. So, no, you can claim all you want that the activity rate is 40 or 50%, but the facts belie that. I see, I've got churches all around me here, and a lot of the people that live around here, including me, would be considered members. And it's not overflowing, and it's going down. And I don't wish it to go down. I don't wish any ill on it. If you're active in the LDS Church and you believe in it, awesome. I wish you nothing but the best. But to tell people, and this is not a first-time experience for me. I have had many people essentially say what this guy said to me, that I'm wrong, I'm going down the wrong path, eventually I'll find my way back. Well, I've known lots of people that left and never went back. They died being non-members. So he's just wrong. It's his experience, and he's entitled to his experience. But to try and put that on every person that's ever left the church, like he's some authority on it, it is judgmental, my friend. It doesn't matter what you say. That is the classic judgment. It's one of the reasons, not the main reason I left, but it is one of the reasons, specifically in Utah. So much judgment. I've told the story a couple of times. I've done videos specifically about this. Raising non-LDS kids in an LDS community is so tough. And I've had a whole bunch of you tell me the same thing. You've told me how rough it was, how they had no friends, and you see your kids crying because they didn't get invited to a party because all the Mormon kids got invited. I've talked about the pressure that got put on my kids to come to activities. And if they didn't, the other kids would essentially, not punished, but they wouldn't get the reward. I'm sorry, I get a little hyped up about this because it's one thing to tell me that. I'm a grown man, I can take it, I don't care. This guy's opinion doesn't affect me other than I want to talk about it because there's so much of this out there. So much judgment. There's a guy that's been my home teacher. I don't even think they do that anymore, but for 20 plus years now. I've lived in this house 21 years. And he came religiously every month. Sometimes he'd bring his whole family. I told him from the beginning that we are not interested in going to church. You're welcome to stop by, be neighborly, say hi. We can have a talk in the driveway. But we're not going to church. You're not going to pray. You're not going to read scriptures to me. I've done all this. I taught it. I did all this. And he's a nice dude. But he crossed the line with me one day in the same type of way, but in a way more personal way. Because the guy that commented on my video, I don't know. He might be a really nice dude. The way he talked, I'm guessing he probably is a nice guy. But, you know, when he responded to my response, and I responded back because he says, you're lashing out. I'm not being judgmental. I'm not lashing out. If you consider this lashing out, okay, fine. Maybe everybody has a different definition of lashing out. I'm not upset. I'm not mad. I'm not hurt. But I saw what it did to my kids, and that does offend me and hurt me and make me mad. I saw my kids crying over things like this. But the home teacher, the day he crossed the line, I think I might have told this story before, but I'm going to tell it because it is perfect for this video. He came to my house. I was in the front yard, so we were talking in the driveway. And he's a little dude. I'm not a giant, but I'm not a little guy. And he was standing next to me. And we were talking about church, and he got more pushy than he usually does. And he said, I don't remember the exact quote, but this is very close to what he said. Do you not love your family, Arnold? And it takes a lot to get me mad at a stranger. Well, he's not really a stranger, but it's somebody who's not close to me. Not like I get mad at the people that are close to me. I mean, I do. You know, my wife and I have arguments like most people. Not very often, but off and on. But I stared at him. I said, what did you just say to me? And I said his name. He says, don't you love your family? And I said, let's call him Ted. That's not his name. Ted, be very careful what you say next. And he says, well, you know, if you don't come back to the church, you're not going to be with your family for eternity. And I didn't mean to, but I stepped forward just because it took me so aback, which is kind of funny because I stepped forward. And he was so scared. He backed up and he almost fell down. I wasn't going to hit the guy. I wasn't going to do anything physical. But I was extremely offended. And I told him, don't ever talk to me like that again. Don't ever talk about my family like that again. You don't know my beliefs. You don't know, because you believe something doesn't make it right. There are hundreds of religions in this world. There are some really evil ones that think they're right. I am not a fan of, you know, I think they do this less now in the Mormon Church, but it was very common for people to say this is a one and only true church on the face of the earth. I know they still believe that. I just think they say it less. Sorry, the wind is screwing with my hair. And I think that's arrogant, for one thing. There are so many religions on the earth, and so many of them say the same thing. There are people that die for their religions. They believe it so strongly. Doesn't make it right. And I'll say it again. I have my beliefs. It's not like I became an atheist when I left the church. It's not like, as far as I'm concerned, God didn't leave me because I left the Mormon Church. I still have a relationship with God. I pray a lot. I just don't feel the need to go sit in a pew listening to somebody give the same talk I've heard dozens of times. And like I said, this experience with this gentleman is not a one-off. This has happened so many times in my life. And I know a lot of people. I've got many friends and family that have left the church as well and have experienced the same type of judgmentalism. You know, you're wrong, you'll come back. I'm glad that worked for him. This works for me. And hopefully whatever you're doing works for you. I really whoever's watching this video, if you're a good person, regardless of what religion, regardless of what you believe, I wish you nothing but the best, honestly. Just trying to gather my last thoughts. I do these videos, as if you've been watching me, you know, it's all off the cuff. I don't write a script. I don't sit and prepare. Something comes into my head, I go make a video. So, you know, some people enjoy that type of video, some don't. And I understand if it's not for you, because my thoughts can wander and I can go on tangents and talk about different things. But I really felt like I had to go make a video about this. Because as I said, I see it as a big problem. And I know people that are still in the church, that there are other people that just don't think they're quite in the church enough. And they get that judgment coming at them. Utah is definitely worse than anywhere else when it comes to that. And that does not mean I'm saying Utah Mormons are bad people. That's not what I'm saying. But that specific part is really bad here. In Canada, where I grew up, it was not like that. My wife grew up in Southern California. It was not like that there. It's not like that in Norway. Now, there are always a few people that are like that no matter where you go and no matter what religion or job or hobby or whatever it is you're into. There's always somebody that thinks that they know best for you. And I don't know. This gentleman is 82 years old. Odds are I'm not going to change his mind. And I'm not trying to change his mind. He's certainly not going to change mine. I also, you know, I mentioned that he said he went back to church because his non-member wife joined the church. Like I said, he never specifically said in his comments at all that he went back because he believed it or that he felt like he had to go back. If it saved him from alcoholism and drug abuse, awesome. That's fantastic. I'm happy for him. I'm glad he got out of it because I have somebody very close to me that has dealt with serious drug addiction, and it destroys your life. It doesn't just destroy your life. It destroys the people around you. If you have close family, close friends, first of all, people that love you don't want to see you going through that, and it's very difficult. And you know, it happened more than once. This person got into it really badly for several years, got out, and then went back into it, which broke my heart. I think they are mostly back out of it again. I shouldn't get too deep into that, but yeah, the world overall just needs less judgment. I mean, you can do whatever you want. You can judge me. Go ahead. You know, I think if overall people just had the live and let live attitude, be nice to people. Listen, I'm all for the golden rule, the 10 commandments. I love them. I think they're very pertinent today. You know, I'm always kind of skirting the line a little bit between going a little too far, because I'm a very opinionated person. If you could probably already tell that, but I can really get into this stuff, and I could give example after example after example after example of people that were in the church but kind of on the, you know, just not quite sure, that just basically got shunned. Listen, personal story here. When I got divorced, yeah, I don't think she'd mind me telling you this. When I got divorced, we were living in Colorado, and we had a 4-year-old daughter who is now 35 years old, 4 kids of her own, beautiful woman. Author, by the way. Look up, I'll do a video and show a couple of her books. She's a young adult author, incredibly talented. Anyway, she was 4 years old when we went through our divorce, And we basically moved back to Utah, both of us. I was moving back, and I think she decided, I don't know if she decided on her own or whatever. I came back to finish my degree at BYU. So I came back to Provo, plus I didn't know anybody but her family in Colorado. I'm like, well, I just they divorced me, essentially. So I wanted to be back. At least my brother was in Salt Lake, so I had somebody kind of close. And I went back to BYU to graduate. But when she came back as a divorced single mother, you think there's no judgment out there? There was a person a couple of weeks ago arguing with me, telling me I'm just wrong. That never happens. Everybody in the church is super nice and welcoming. That would never happen. She got shunned so badly. She'd go to church with my little girl. I'd already pretty much stopped going to church at that time. Might have been part of the reason for our divorce too. I was already drifting away. We were just very different people. Should have never got married. But we have our daughter, and I'm grateful for that. But it was quite a while before she was accepted because she was divorced and a single mom. And you can tell me I'm a liar. Go ahead. I know what happened, and I've seen it so many times I can't count. I've said it before. If you're one of those people that doesn't let your kids play with the neighbor kids because they're not Mormon, there's something wrong there. You need to look at yourself. What do you think, they're going to get a disease from them? What do you think's going to happen? By the way, when my kids were growing up here, and they would, the few friends they had, I mean, it varied. My kids were lucky because they had a small group of friends that they were close to, but there were so many kids that just weren't allowed to play with them. And if a kid came over, I would go out of my way. If it was like a Friday night and I was having a beer and watching a movie or something, I would go out of my way to make sure there were no drinks ever in sight, just out of respect. But we didn't get that respect back from members, most members. In our last town, I've talked about this, they just flat out shunned us when we stopped going to church. Just flat out, just not welcome. Just, we don't talk to you, you left the church. So anyway, this was going to be a 10-minute video. Summary. I think judgmentalism, is that a word? In not just the Mormon Church, in lots of churches, is a big problem. And I think less people would leave. Well, for me it wouldn't have mattered because I just didn't believe it. But that didn't help. That certainly expedited me leaving, our family leaving. 2 of my kids were baptized, 2 weren't. That's their choice now. They're both adults. Neither seems to have any interest in that. But if they decided they wanted to be LDS, I would support them. I got no problem with that. Do what makes you happy. Do what makes your life happy. Anyway, there's a hummingbird right behind the camera. I hope you, whoever's watching, whoever comments, including the dude that I'm talking about, I hope you have a happy life. And he ended his comment with, I won't clutter your channel anymore. I definitely don't feel like that. I appreciated the fact that he took time to comment on my little piddly channel. I appreciate it. And so far it's been a civil conversation. I'll see if he responded again, and if he did, depending on what's said, maybe no more needs to be said. If he comments on this video, I'll probably respond to him. Just know I'm not lashing out at you. I'm not mad at you. But I do think your comments come across very judgmental. So let's leave it on a positive note. Norway, World Cup, Final 8, baby. I think we play Saturday against England. We're a slight underdog, but man, if we could get to the Final 4, if we win it, that'd be fantastic. If we get to the Final 4, that is so beyond what anybody thought we could do. Erling Haaland is a freaking animal. Did anybody watch the game against Brazil? That header, I have never seen anybody head a soccer ball that hard. That goalie had no chance. It was like a rocket coming off his head. So go Norway. Tack för denna gång, men snackas igen snart. I really do appreciate y'all watching. I hope y'all have a blessed, beautiful day. Peace, love.